Me personally, I feel like these 4 years went by way too fast, and it's not funny because it's been too many times. I'm in middle school. I was in ninth grade. They all looking at me. Oh, you gonna be an adult real soon. These 4 years ain't nothing. You gotta really lock in on what you want to do. And I feel like I did enough, but I let a lot fly past me, and I'm not that cool with that because I felt like I had way more time than I did. And then once you run out of time and you look back and you realize there's really no going back, and you just left with your that's what
But our biggest focus has just been money, 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 money.
everybody's focus is money, 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 money. It's when you come to the realization that there's stuff beyond money. Like you can work your whole life to get money, but once you got that, what's next?
To get money.
Everything. What aren't we doing to get money? Everybody's doing something to get money. Some more right than others, but money has to be made no matter what. Money is a necessity. Even even once you have a goal for yourself that's outside of like the monetary view, it'll still be it'll still be hard to really grow up, especially like for us though, because like our version of what we want and the reality that's out there is two completely different. That's why I feel like a lot of people are scared to grow up because like what growing up is you abandoning everything you know and you stepping into a whole new field.
To be very honest with you, I feel like I brought up this topic to Dr. Fleming. He was like he was gonna put it in, so I'm glad it is in here. I feel like adults make life seem like so hard because they have to pay all these bills when they get older. So it's like, oh, you don't want to grow up because you got to pay bills. Yeah, bills and okay, okay. Why are you trying? Why are any adults like happy or anything? Like y'all are not happy? What's going on? Why are y'all just so focused on bills all the time? Like I get that bills are due and bills need to be paid. I get that, but you're not happy at all.
I feel like also when you becoming like an 18-year-old, the first thing adults gonna say, "Oh, you think you're grown? Oh, you can't manage the world." They don't give us any faith. They feel like our life or adulthood will become theirs, and what they go through, they don't think that ours may be better or ours may be easier. They think that we're gonna go through the same stress that they went through as becoming like a teenager going to an adult.
How do you feel about our parents and the people that raised us, the people that we look up to, and that we are supposed to be coming in the next couple of years?
Uh, I feel like all right now that's a harder question because it's like think about it. They've been adults for so long
But they haven't.
that you're right, but they have a whole different viewpoint than us. Like think about it. Your parent still sees you as a kid.
Right.
All of our parents still see us as the same. That's what I'm saying.
When your parents see you as a kid, they gonna make it difficult. They don't want you to grow up, and they gonna give you all the bad and wrong ideas. They just gonna keep saying, "Oh, you're not gonna make it out in the world if you do this and this and that." So
But
I feel like,
it's inevitable though. You have to grow up.
yeah, but they're scared and they're making it bad for their child if they keep putting the negative thoughts in their brain.
It really much depends on the influence that your parents have on you because there's negative aspects and there's positive aspects. So for some parents, they might be trying to encourage them to try to grow up. But as we know, for our parents, it's more in a negative aspect. Like they're not going to really help us. They're going to more like downgrade us. That makes sense?
We all gotta learn. We all gotta grow up. There's no better way of learning than trial and error. But at what point does it get to be too much? Like say you know your kid working, right? You made him get a job. Say like in this example, we started working before 18. You wanted to hop on it early. I don't think you should be taking half or over half of your child's check for bills and stuff to teach them a lesson. There's different ways to teach them to save up without draining their pockets as much. Because like I completely get the whole you gotta save, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Like in my cousin's case, her mom actually made her pay rent as soon as she turned 18. She stayed living with her till she was 21. Made her pay rent since she was 18. Once she turned 21, gave all the rent money back to her. That's a good life lesson on saving money. But now also know some parents that will take the money from their kid and spend it on themselves. Take the money for their kids, saves for one thing, spend it on themselves, or just straight up take their kids' money. I've heard stories of parents going into their kids' room, knowing where they hide their money, taking their money, and trying to play it off like it was reasonable. And there's no real reasonable way for you to be taking your child's money.
Also, I feel like when you get a job and you start paying your bills, Some parents make you go straight to paying the bills. Some parents make you put the money in the account. It depends. Also depends on your parent. But I feel like you shouldn't just. I feel like the first thing you shouldn't do is just slap a bill onto the child. The child is 16, got a job, or you're gonna pay the water bill because you got a job now. Or if you want something to eat, you gotta find it because you got a job. I feel like that shouldn't be the first case or scenario. I feel like y'all should just like try to help the child save for college or something, but don't just take the child's money for your benefit. I feel like that's
The stress of pushing towards adulthood from where we're at now, I don't know, bro. I'm not ready for it. I don't think any of us are ready for it because none of us know what to really expect. We have guardians and we have people that can guide us towards what we think should be the right way. But the only way we're going to know is to fail, and nobody wants to fail. So I feel like that's really putting a block on me wanting to grow up. Go ahead, Kev.
Oh, back to his first prompt, like our talking about our parents. I feel like, well, not for me specifically, but for a lot of people, like our parents don't really guide us enough. Like they give us one path, linear path, like go through school, get a job, that's it. They don't really show us anything else other than that, like the main things that they do in their daily life. And I feel like that's one of the most stressful things about like growing up. You feel me? Yeah,
I would say one of our main struggles of transitioning from where we are at now into our adult lives is trying to find that path that fits us. Most people will look at another and be like, okay, their way of life seems to be going good. Let me try to do that. And then it doesn't work out for you. And then you're hopping back and forth between paths, don't know which one is right for you. When you do find that right one, that's when life becomes a little bit easier in transitioning to adulthood. But at the stages we are at now, where we're all still just about to get out of high school, it's just like, I don't know which way is good. I don't know which way I want to take. So we're lost in it. And that's what makes our transition harder. We don't have much in mind. We know we have like vague goals and dreams that we want to accomplish, but we don't know the way to get to them. And that's where our struggle and in transitioning comes in.
But that's where hard work and dedication comes in. The faster you find what you want to do, the faster you get a hold of that, the sooner you can get to the grind. Because the faster you get to the grind, the faster you get and the more determined you get towards whatever you see yourself doing 5-10 years from now, that's when you really, I feel like that transition and you getting to that point is adulthood. And I feel like once you get to that point and on is when you're really like you're really grown, bro. Like I feel like we're all growing. Like no matter what, 18, 21, you're technically grown, but you're not an adult. You're not a true adult until you can support yourself, support whoever you may be living with, and then you can keep that up for years at a time. If you can't do that, you're not an adult. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, going some weeks all the way under, you don't really have yourself afloat. So you can't really say that you're there or that you're fully established
Then a lot of people are not adults
at
then.
all.
Yeah, and
Like you're grown. but
I
not
feel like people don't understand the difference between being an adult and being grown. When you
exactly.
touch 18, you're grown, but you're not an adult. And I feel like when you become 18, first thing you're gonna be like, "Oh, so you're an adult now?" No, I'm grown, but I'm not an adult because I don't have certain responsibilities, and they don't see the difference between that.
And then they try to use that as like
Yeah.
disrespect, like, oh, you think you grown now, bro? I am grown. I'm
Yeah,
just not
but
an adult yet. I'm making my own money. I find my own way to and from where I'm trying to go. I got a head on my shoulders. I know right from wrong. I'm not going out in the streets and doing dumb stuff. I am actually grown, but you shouldn't treat me as if I'm a full-fledged adult. I don't have the experience for that at all.
What do you think becoming an adult actually takes? Because if you have a job, you're making your own money. You bought your first apartment. You're living by yourself, getting this 1, 2, and 3. At what point can you actually call yourself an adult?
Not even like an apartment. Like, yeah, like that's a step to becoming an adult. Like when you get your first apartment, you're right.
I think your first thing with being an adult is you moving out of your parents' house. You got an apartment. You got your own car. You
Right.
making you buying your own groceries. You're doing stuff. You got a job. I feel like that's the first step of becoming an adult. But it's different from being grown. When you still live with your parents, you got a job, but you don't got a car. That's you being the grown, but you're not a fully adult.
Now, if you was already an adult, what would you do to help the younger people become adults?
Well, in my perspective, is asking what the type of path they want to follow. Do they want to go still living with their parents, or they didn't want to get a job first. They didn't want to get an apartment. It just you gotta ask them before you give them advice. You gotta ask them their perspective.
Right.
Okay, before we end everything, we're going to get some words from the adult that is in the room. Please state your name and tell us what you think.
Thank you for having me here on the podcast. My name is Latoya Miller. I'm happy to be substituting today at King. And I just want to say I hear lots of beautiful things in the room. We talk about collective wisdom in some of my background, and listening to the young people here speak, you're hitting all the right bases right here. You're talking about all the right points and bringing out the points about becoming an adult. And the thing I hear the most is that it's not just one thing, and it is a process that's ongoing. My pastor always says, sometimes you haven't lived long enough to see the same problems twice. And I would say that becoming an adult is when you encounter a problem you've seen before, and then you use your life experience and your knowledge to solve that problem. Because part of being an adult is that you are going to continue to see the same problems rise up. Conflict with a friend. It might not be the same friend, but you keep living long enough and it's going to happen again. Conflict in family. You keep living long enough and it's going to happen again. So the question becomes, when those challenges come, how do you respond? How do you show that you've grown and you've changed, so that you're not the 18-year-old self or the 16-year-old self or the 22-year-old self? Adulting is that I'm learning this thing called life, and I know how to respond to it. And I'm not breaking down every time some challenge comes, right? And then knowing how to build your support system. Being an adult means that you know that you can't do it by yourself. And so you know how to find your people. You know how to rely on people and let people rely on you to have that village. That's also an adult. So there's so much to it, and you're all talking about it. It's beautiful to hear.
And that's what I was talking about earlier with experience. Experience is what really builds an adult. That's why no matter if you're 18, 22, 20, if you're early 20s, bro, and 9 times out of 10, bro, if we don't got that experience, but there are some kids that grew up faster than others, that were forced to grow up way faster than others. So I feel like in their circumstance, you can be an early adult. You probably start adulting early. You probably have a lot of skills that the majority of kids around your age don't got. But for the majority of us, as she said, I feel like she's 100% right. It's having the experience of going through these things and having a system to get around that and being able to push forward and continue growing as a person. Well, you had something else you wanted to add?
It's also, I heard you mention that you got to find your people. It's also being and knowing like who to tell certain stuff, what to keep back, who to tell. You're not going around gossip. If you're in a conflict, the first thing you're not doing is jumping and fighting a person. Be mature, talk it out. Just certain things you got to know how to hold your mouth and what to say and what not to say, has becoming an adult and not doing the childish stuff over and over again.
So, personally, I think that our parents see too much of themselves in us, and since they were there, since we've been born, for most of us. Like, they've seen us grow up, they've seen us fail, they've seen us fall, but I don't think they're ready to see us like do everything on our own, since they've been with us every step of the way. Most parents, like, as much as they love you, they think that if you do what they did in life, you'll be happy and that you'll have everything that you want to have in life. But once they see that ourselves, like the people that we're trying to be or trying to become, they think that difference is going to add something, like it's going to hurt us, or the world is going to hurt us for the things that happen to us. And they're not ready to let us into the world because they've seen all the horrible things that's going to happen, or everything that's happening right now. Because you really have to look at what's happening in the world right now to really think if you would want to bring somebody into this world, knowing there's all of this war and hunger going on and stuff like that. All this fear of another war, all this fear of another war in America would be better to say, because there is war happening elsewhere. But you get the point.
And also I feel like when you have an older sibling, and that older sibling probably do something a worse way, or they turn out They did something the way that your parents didn't prefer they do it. They use that example on you, and they keep saying, "Oh, you can't do this. You're gonna turn out like this person," or "I know what you're gonna do. You're gonna make the same mistake." I feel like they don't trust you enough to know that you don't think the same way as how they think. Or you might see things a different way. I feel like they don't trust the process of you growing up. They don't trust how you see things because everybody don't see things the same way. I feel like they don't understand that.
One thing I'd like to say is I think our generations before us don't actually want to see us become better than them. They won't.
They might say it. They might be like, "Oh, I want to see you come back." They don't mean it. They
But
don't mean it at all.
that's the same thing for us to them. We may not listen to what they may say. We may be ignorant to what they may say, and they don't actually teach us what we need to learn either. They don't give us the resources that we need to become great humans and better humans than they have or became. So I don't know.
Bro, I was talking about this before. Some of y'all might think I'm crazy, but Dr. Omar done said it, bro. We are brainwashed into thinking that only 1 to 2 can make it out. He said it. He said, bro, he really sat here and explained it. He said that through slavery, bro, most of the slaves, bro, 1 to 2 would make it out the plantation, which means you're fighting somebody else for your spot to live your life. We're under this impression to this day that only 1 to 2 of us can make it. We all have equal opportunity. Who is there to say that just because he's famous, I can't be famous? Just because he's good at sports, I can't be good at sports. Just because he has a bunch of money, I can't have a bunch of money. Like, there's no reason that you should see. No,
I think that's where we mess up. Why do we want another person's spot? We could be less than a person and still be as impactful and still be as great, but we don't always need that glit and glory or that brightness. We don't always need that spotlight.
Sometimes it's the parents too. They want you to be like that
Right.
person. They don't want you
Right.
to be like under that person. You gotta be over that person. You gotta be better and bigger. You know what I'm saying?
She has so much you want to say? Go ahead.
Well, I hear you talking about parents and some of the restrictions that they may have. And I'm not a parent, but I have been an educator for 18 years. And what I can say that I see is that parents operate out of fear. And they don't express that fear to you in that way. They don't say, "I'm afraid for you." They might. What they do is they tighten up, right? And they lock stuff down in the house and they lock you down. A lot of the behavior you see from parents is just fear. It's hard to describe the bond between a parent and a child, and they want what's best for you, but they don't necessarily have the tools to help you develop into your best self. And so they go back to that fear, like, what would happen if? How can I control the environment to protect my child? And they know that they can't, but they don't always have the tools. And so as you get older, it's about having conversations with your parents about how can you learn to trust me more? What can we do to help develop myself together so that they're a part of the process? Because a lot of times they're just afraid. And sometimes they're afraid because they don't know the answers. And they see you moving faster than them and they don't know how to keep up because they didn't have the same experiences that you have. They didn't have the same opportunities that you have, and they don't know how to navigate it. And so sometimes they're afraid about that. They don't know what to do. And so talk to your parents, right? Keep the conversation open.
I also feel like when you said that they're afraid and they're fear, I feel like when parents don't allow their child to go out with their friends, like, "Oh, mom, I want to go to the movies with my friends, so can I go?" And they say no. I feel like you're not giving the child an opportunity to have their youth, like hang out, go out with a friend. So when that child go to college, thing that you don't want them to do, they're gonna do it in college because you're not there. So either way, they're gonna do stuff that you won't like. But I feel like when you're a strict parent, you make a sneaky child, and that child is gonna be out sneaky, and they're gonna do a lot of things in college you're not gonna like. But that's how you made the child. I feel like that's just how it is.
We about to wrap this up right now, but all I really wanted to add is what I was saying earlier, that there should be no reason that we should have so much hate in our community, although because we're all so alike. Just because you see somebody doing good, you shouldn't want to be better than them or replace them. You should want to be a better self for you. Like, I feel like people get too caught up in trying to be the next this person, the next that person, trying to outdo everybody around them instead of just trying to improve on themselves and push forward with who they are at heart. A lot of people get caught up trying to live an identity that's not them, and it gets people hurt. It's just crazy. Welcome to Behind the Eyes of Our Youth, where we talk about anything and everything. Today's episode was all with the students. We did not have any help from our teachers. We didn't have any help from any adult except for the sub in here that did add to some of the questions that we had. Our topic for today was the stress of transitioning into adulthood, which branched off into many pretty good topics. It's a great listen. My name is Idris Hill, and thank you for listening.